back to The Bark. I am Michael DeRosa here as always with Silas Anderson. We have an action-packed show for you today, but first, let's start with an NCAA tournament preview.
Thanks, Michael. The NCAA tournament is right here, right now, and there is nothing people like talking about more than some Cinderella candidates. Here are a couple teams I am watching to be the Cinderella story of 2024. Let's start off in the Sun Belt Conference. The James Madison Duke started off the season with a statement, knocking off the then number 4 ranked Michigan State Spartans in the Breslin Center. That game was no fluke, as the Dukes went on to finish the season at 31-3 with only a handful of losses in league play. The Dukes have been undefeated since January 28th and are playing some of their best basketball of the season. The same cannot be said for their opponent, the Wisconsin Badgers. Before a good showing in the Big Ten tournament, the Badgers were 3-8 in their last 11 games dating back to February. One team is surging, the other is falling. Take the Dukes, who might just be the better team. Let's move on over to the Western Athletic Conference. The Grand Canyon Antelopes are the only for-profit team in D1 basketball, and they can also get buckets. Coach Bryce Drew is famous for this March Madness shot.
It's to Jenkins, the Drew for the win! Good! He did it! Bryce Drew did it! Valpo has won the game! A miracle!
And he also could be famous for coaching these Lopes come this weekend. There are not many times when the 12 seed is vastly more athletic than their 5 seed counterpart, but this is one of them. The Lopes are big, physical, and excellent defensively. They overwhelm teams with physicality, and that has been a recipe to beat St. Mary's over the last few years. The Gales started the season really slow, but picked it up in league play. The WCC Conference, however, doesn't have a team as athletic as Grand Canyon. The Lopes will be able to match St. Mary's size and rebounding ability and have the best player on the floor. And his name is Tyon Grant Foster, who averages nearly 20 points a game for the Antelopes. Lastly, the main event. New Mexico has 3 excellent guards, Jalen House, Donovan Dent, and Jamal Mashburn Jr. New Mexico won the Mountain West tournament and clinched an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Trio of guards combined to average nearly 45 points a game. That is House, Mashburn, and Dent. House, the son of NBA player Eddie House, leads the Lobos with 16.1 points a game. Combine that incredible backcourt with good bigs like freshman JT Toppin and Iona transfer Nelly Jr. Joseph, and the 11 seed Lobos have matchups for Clemson star PJ Hall and advantages at key position. Guards win games in March, and the Lobos have 3 guards who are capable of leading this team to a second weekend. Back to you in the studio.
The Butler women's basketball team has accepted a bid to compete as an at-large team in the Women's Basketball National Invitation Tournament. Butler will host Bowling Green tonight at 7 p.m. at historic Hinkle Fieldhouse. Bowling Green comes into the game with a 16-14 record with a 10-8 record in the MAC Conference. They are coming off losses to Eastern Michigan in the last game of the regular season and a loss to Buffalo in the first round of the MAC tournament. Bowling Green has 5 players averaging in double figures, led by Morgan Sharps, who averages 15.6 points per game. The other players averaging in double figures are Lexi Fleming, who averaged 15 points, Amy Velasco, who averaged 14.6 points per game, Erica Porter, who averaged 11.9 points per game, and Paige Kohler, who averaged 11 points per game. Butler is coming off a loss to Marquette at the end of the regular season and a 75-60 loss to Providence in the first round of the Big East tournament. Butler is led in scoring by Caroline Strandy, who averaged 15 points per game, as well as averaging 7.2 rebounds per game and just under 3 assists. Rachel Kent also averaged double figures with 10.4 points per game. Kent and Strandy have started for Butler in all 30 games this season so far. Strandy and Kent average over 30 minutes per game on the season. The winner of this game will play Purdue in the second round.
Now let's send it over to City to see how the softball team did in their road trip to St. John's.
Butler softball traveled north to St. John's this past weekend to take on the Red Storm in a 3-game conference series. The Dogs came home 0-3 as the Red Storm were able to take the sweep. Within the first game of the series, the Red Storm gained a 5-0 lead heading into the 6th inning, before the Dogs tried to creep back in, tallying 3 runs in the top of the 7th. Unfortunately, they weren't able to seal the deal. However, Kate Lehner was a key performer that day, leading the Dogs as she produced 3 hits at the plate. Heading into Game 2 of the conference series, the Dogs were not able to contain St. John's as they were held off to a 6-1 lead from the Red Storm. The Red Storm offense tallied 2 home runs and 5 total extra base hits to win Game 2 of the series against the Dogs. Melanie Santos drilled her first home run of the season off the left field scoreboard during the second inning. The first baseman finished the day 2 for 3 from the dish with 2 RBIs. The next performance came from shortstop London Gerard, who launched her team-leading 5th home run over the center field wall in the third inning. The junior now has reached 30 RBIs in the 2024 season to lead the Big East Conference. Hoping to avoid a sweep, the Dogs held the Red Storm to a much tighter game in the third competition. The 5-4 game came down to the wire in the 7th inning. With Kate Lanner in scoring position, junior for the Dogs, Ella White, put some fighting spirit back in her team as she tied up the game with a stand-up double, forcing the Red Storm to respond in the top of the inning. Katie Whitaker delivered the clutch RBI double in the bottom of the 7th to plate the game-winning run for the Red Storm. The sophomore now has 6 RBIs with 2 home runs on the season. The Dogs are now looking forward as they face the Yukon Huskies home at Bulldog Park this upcoming weekend in a 3-game series.
Let's send it over to our betting expert, Darby, for another episode of Darby's Decisions.
Welcome to the segment Darby's Decisions, where we will try to build on the whopping $8.50 we have earned over this semester. It's March Madness season, so you're probably thinking it's the worst thing to bet on, but I'm here to prove to you that it's not. Now let's get into it. This might sound crazy to my viewers, but my first bet of the day is a 12-legger. Yes, you heard that right, 12 legs, and it is simply a money line for all top 3 seeds in the first round. While you might be having flashbacks to Purdue last year, I'm sorry, but that is the last thing that they're going to let happen, and historically, number 1 seeds have come out victorious in over 95% of the time. For the 2 and the 3 seeds, I don't see any matchup as a risk, besides the only arguments against Illinois and Creighton. But I simply do not see Illinois losing, as they put up 84 points per game and are ranked 12 in the BPI rankings over Morehead State, ranked 104. And then, people believe Akron will match up well against Creighton. However, I completely disagree. They haven't played a ranked team all season and won't be able to keep up with the giant Ryan Kalkbrenner and bucket getters Bailey Shireman. The rest of the games are locks, and if they lose, I may have to retire from this show. I put $27.43 on this bet at a value of minus 102 to net $54.32. While there have been some crazy upsets the last few years, I really don't see one happening to these powerhouse teams this year. My second bet is all fun and games because it's on the first game of March Madness, Michigan State versus Mississippi State. It's a 2-leg bet, the first being A.J. Hoggard to get 10 or more points. While I know Hoggard has been struggling as of late, his experience in this tournament will show in this game. While he only averages 11 points per game on the season, last year he averaged 16.3 in the Big Dance. I expect him to take control of this game down the stretch and put up at least a double-digit stat line for points. The second leg is another Michigan State guard, Jaden Akins, over 1.5 threes. Akins is a high-volume shooter who is known as the best sniper on the team. When he's on, he's capable of making 4+ threes. Look for him to hit a couple of big shots this game, as he averages 1.8 threes per game and shoots over 38% from behind the arc on the season. I placed $15 on this bet at plus 144 odds to net $35.60. Lastly, if you happen to be a DraftKings user, I have a couple of honorable mentions and bonuses. The first one being Nevada Moneyline at minus 122 as a part of the No Sweat bonus, where you have to bet on a high seed to win. And if it loses, you receive a $10 free bet. So I put $10 on this to ensure no risk. Secondly, there was a special for Purdue to reach the Elite Eight, boosted from minus 170 odds to plus 100. I think one of the best teams in the country and the best player in college basketball are finally going to redeem themselves and make a run. I put $10 on this to win $20. And now we toss to Veronica, who's talking about the Olympic swimming trials here in Indianapolis this summer.
Thanks, guys. Let's dive into a historical event happening here in downtown Indy this summer.
This summer, the 2024 U.S. Olympic Team Trials for Swimming are being held in Indianapolis. But not only that, they're taking place inside Lucas Oil Stadium, home of the Colts. This will be the first time a swim meet is staged on a football field, and it can be hard to imagine. So here are some renderings from the Lucas Oil Stadium website. As you can see, there are 3 pools, 2 50-meter and 1 25-meter, that will be installed over the turf. Along with that, there will be a USA Swimming's Toyota AquaZone inside the Indiana Convention Center. This is such a monumental event happening this summer with 9 days of competition starting from June 15th through the 23rd. And by the end of the trials, we will have the USA swimming team headed to Paris. Yet another amazing event hosted here in the city of Indianapolis.
Thanks, guys. Today we're here on Butler's campus going around asking students who they want to win their March Madness bracket.
I have UConn winning.
UConn.
Gotta be UConn. I know it's the lazy pick, but it just feels right.
I have UConn.
I have the UConn Huskies winning. Oh, I got UConn back to back. You know, they've been doing a really good job this year in the Big East. They certainly kicked our butts twice.
Houston Cougars.
Houston.
I think with Purdue losing last year, I think they're going to come back and win it this year. I have a good feeling about that.
I have Iowa State winning.
I got UConn going all the way.
UConn.
UConn.
I also have UConn.
And I can't see anybody stopping them.
Purdue. I unfortunately have UConn winning. I think that 7-foot guy gets a foul every single time he has the ball, so they're going to take it all the way.
And is there an upset you're looking forward to?
I think Drake's going to go far. I think Kansas is going to lose early. I think Kansas is going down. I think Gonzaga's going down. The 12 and 13 seeds.
That's it from here at Butler University. Can't wait to see all the madness that takes place this March.
That's a wrap for us here at the Bark. I'm Silas, here with Michael, and as always, stay classy and go Dogs.